Hello everyone, welcome back to the LCS 2020 Spring Playoffs. It is the first battle and it's already 2-0 in fairly convincing games. Evil Geniuses one nexus away from taking down FlyQuest.
They have the 2-0 lead. FlyQuest, though, changing things up, as the analyst was talking about. They are bringing solo in, so we'll see if that can throw any sort of a curveball into the series. You know, do they have anything specifically planned here for solo, or is it more of a, all right, we're losing, we got to try something, we got to mix something up? I hope for FlyQuest's sake that they do have a bit of a plan with solo that isn't just kind of desperation here, because EG has been looking like the stronger team and is in full control.
And I want to see FlyQuest carry through top lane. If you ask what's different about Solo, it's the fact that he has first blood in over half the games played, which is absurd for a top lane. He seems to know what he needs from Santorin, and Santorin seems to give it to him, and they find kills as early as level 1 up there. And Sett can absolutely be a top lane carry. I can see Solo taking that one down. They get side selection, they stay on blue, they want first pick Sett, he's against Ornn. But with Solo, I can see this turning into a kill in the early game as opposed to last time, just letting the Ornn farm.
Yeah, we'll have to find out, right? Kumo was pressured by Viper in the early stages of last game. You know, Viper did get Kumo very low, but, you know, was building for this split push style of gameplay, and the game wasn't about split push, it was about team fighting. So, you know, does Solo even go for that style of build, or does he build more for the 5v5? That's going to be something interesting. Also worth noting that Gragas now taken off the table. Svenskeren has been incredible on this champion, you know, really dominant, turned in a great game last game. I believe he also played it in game 1, so that is going to be something different. Svenskeren obviously has more than just the Gragas, could look towards something like Lee Sin, which is one of his big go-tos, you know, as the 4th pick perhaps in the draft, assuming that gets left up. But again, EG protecting their Ornn by banning out Trundle, this tank killer that can come out from the jungle. And we have a very similar draft overall. You know, it's the first 3 picks are the same. It's just a couple differences as far as the bans do go. And I'm really interested, you know, if FlyQuest is down to run it back, does EG just go to Ezreal again and say, all right?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a possibility, right? So, I mean, looking at this fact, the fact that Pantheon was banned instead of Olaf, so, you know, a couple of small things different as far as that's concerned here. Looking at the Zoe to, again, that's the same ban as last time. So we have the first deviation there.
You know, couple small changes.
Right, sorry, yeah, the Gragas obviously a big deal here as well. So, yeah, small things there, waiting as time ticks down. Lee Sin will get removed as okay, we got rid of Svenskeren's Gragas. What else are we afraid of? Lee Sin, and definitely a signature pick for him. So, okay, Svenskeren, you lost maybe your 2 most notable champions. What's third?
I think he's going to maybe go Jarvan. You know, that's a possibility. If he does want more AP, you could look towards something like Elise. So it's actually going to be another tank. So this is interesting. I do feel like without even the Gragas jungle, you would be perhaps more hesitant to go to the Ezreal for this kind of heavy physical damage team, assuming all the other picks are the same on the other side. Because Jarvan, Azir, and FlyQuest has the exact same comp as last game, right? Obviously, it would be a different jungler for EG, but I would be curious to see, are they willing to go towards that same pick, knowing you don't even have the magical damage threat coming out of the jungle?
Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly. I know we saw the last game's damage graph. As it turns out that both the top Ornn and the the jungle Gragas had the same total damage as Bang's Aphelios. They were all okay. But yeah, FlyQuest gonna run back the exact.
It's a salty run back.
And Evil Geniuses just gonna sub out the Gragas for Sejuani and say we'll do it too.
Oh, let's see if they lock Ezreal. We have to wait and find out. Do they go to this again? Because the Gragas versus Sejuani is a fairly large difference. Obviously, you would have great team fighting here. You do have much less magical damage, you know, on the team. Yes, Sejuani does some magic damage, but it is just lock it. This is insane. Okay. It's very rare that you see almost mirrored drafts. The only change out of the 10 champions is Svenskeren's Gragas getting swapped out for Sejuani here. So FlyQuest very clearly thinking comp was not an issue. It was play. We can execute better on this. We're bringing in Solo. He may go a different build. Maybe he'll go more armor heavy there. Maybe he'll go more defensive. And maybe that Sejuani versus Gragas will make a bigger difference, because Gragas has much more threat in the early game. You know, even at level 3, you can look for ganks. That's something your opponents have to kind of play around. Where Sejuani really is kind of farm it to 6. It's rare that you're looking for these types of skirmishes early on, especially if you don't have a lane dominant melee champion to pair alongside it, right? It's not like you're going to go up there with your Sejuani Ornn combo and look to knock down this Sett. That's very unlikely to be the type of play. If you have an Aurelia or the Sett yourself, or something a bit more kind of dominant, then maybe you play towards it. Renekton is another good example. Ezreal not going to be where you're going to look to fight early. So I do think Svenskeren is going to kind of have the job of sitting back and farming up. And maybe FlyQuest is just hoping that allows them to dictate the pace of the game better.
Yeah, it may well. I mean, that's going to be interesting to watch for. Sejuani is a 55-45 physical damage champion. So, right, she's not the Gragas who's, 90-10 magic, obviously.
And not going to build
But one
AP.
thing we did see... Yeah, of course, right? Not going to scale it further as well. Like, even if she is 55 physical, that's not as much damage the Gragas is dealing, quite obviously. So, one thing we did see last game, though, was that FlyQuest actually built 3 Merc Treads on their team. Even the Azir, who was against Ezreal in the one-on-one, who doesn't have any... CC at all. It was for the tenacity. It was for the Ornn CC, for the Nautilus CC and everything else. They were more worried about tenacity than armor. That is debatably the right choice. I'm not, to tell them for sure what they should have been doing, but end of the day, this might still be one where even the magic damage profile is even lower, the crowd control profile is even higher, and we may still just again see the 3 Merc Tread build, which gives Jiizuke and Bang a lot of runway to basically be unmitigated in their damage output.
It's just so interesting. It's very, very rare that you get to watch back-to-back games from pro teams with essentially all these things staying the same, some slight differences. I'm not sure that Bang was playing Conqueror last game. I can't quite recall. I want to say that was different. Solo is going to be starting Doran's Shield, where Viper started Doran's Blade, so a little bit more of a defensive start there. It is just interesting to kind of track these small changes and small differences to see if that really leads us to anything different, or if Solo himself can just make more of a big difference. This is 2 games in a row, though, that IgNar has actually done this sweeper start, waited till 1:30, then walked into the river to actually check for that ward. Last game, I believe he did not find it. This game he does, so a bit of a pattern there that he'll have to watch out for, because teams that are watching FlyQuest, will know now this is one of his habits, and that can be something that can get picked on if you're not careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, there's the whole 19-game regular season as well to look at, but the more recent habits certainly more important. I was able to check the rune page. Bang was running Conqueror last game, so across everyone who's playing the same champion, same rune setup, even across Solo replacing Viper. Yeah, so as we expect, there's a level 2 gank up on the top side. Now, Solo does not know that this is happening to him, as now comes Santorin. Kumo, sorry, I got my words backwards. Kumo has to burn Flash level 1. Exactly what we expected, a level 1 top lane gank for Solo.
You know what I think? I'm not even sure that he had to flash. He was so close to his tower, and he's full health. Do you even need to blow the summoner there? I can't see how they have anywhere close to enough damage to actually bully you out after that. So it kind of becomes a decision of how much damage will you take, not will you die, because I think there's no way you die. It's just a question of, do you lose too much health that maybe you lose your teleport or you lose control in the lane? So with that flash, at the very least, Kumo does preserve his health and allows himself to really kind of hang in there in the lane and not be having to give up farm.
Another fight down on the bottom side. Pretty good damage towards IgNar, but with level 2 is able to kind of fight back a little bit. And yeah, that is an interesting question. I think these theoretics are sometimes quite fun. Oh, he's going to not find the knockup. So Kumo, really wish he had the bigger health bar there, and Solo going to get the nice trade on top of him. You can see 20-9 in CS, and it's not going to get better. He'll pick up some, but this is going to remain a deficit here for Kumo.
It misses that knockup, and when you miss that knockup, your bench just kind of felt feeling a little bit stupid as Sett's just punching away at you as you are trying to run back. He will be able to pick up some of that farm, so he is down just about a little bit over a wave, and is going to actually go for the early recall, which I find a little bit surprising. He's actually going to early recall and TP back. He was still fairly high on health. I'm surprised that he didn't just craft some items and try to hang around, because now if he gets re-ganked and doesn't have his teleport, you're at the risk of actually losing plates, of really falling critically far behind. And Santorin is up here on this top side, so that is a possibility.
Yep. Puts a control ward down. He picked a refillable control ward, put the control ward of the triple brush, and of course flash down. They know he's also TP down. There's no way he gets that potion and is back to lane in time. But as you're seeing, Svenskeren have to do the due diligence here, right? He's got to shadow top lane and say, okay, if there is a gank, if there is a dive, I need to be around for that one. And they were going to have the knock-up land for a bit of CC and not go for too much more, as yeah, they're just gonna. I guess they're not even gonna push the wave in. Solo spent enough mana, not mana, but you know, wave good enough that it's gonna keep pushing back towards Kumo, so he can farm safely by his turret.
It's interesting because actually forcing out that trade from Kumo there makes Solo use the Haymaker, which then pushes the wave back towards him. So that was actually very big. A nice sidestep there from Kumo as he actually fully avoided that Haymaker damage, but still getting punished very heavily on the back end of that trade. He is going to try to clear this out and probably match recalls because he's quite low and doesn't have TP, where Solo still has his teleport advantage. Now it just kind of comes down to that TP edge, right? You know, Solo didn't actually commit his earlier, so now he's going to be able to fully reset.
And you can see pretty big damage done right now as they're going to trade back and forth in the bottom lane. It's 520. This is the wave you want to recall off if your farm is good. Bang has already taken one back, and they're going to flash for the anchor in over towards WildTurtle. Has to burn his own flash to get away. The chase in for Bang. He almost has it. The ignite isn't burning anymore, though, and Turtle will just barely slink away. No summoners left, but EG going to have control over this bottom lane.
That was so close to a kill. I wonder if Bang couldn't have stepped past IgNar for that final auto. Hard to know if he could have got it, but that plus the fact that they actually have minion dematerializer means they killed that cannon wave so fast. That is actually such a critical use of that minion dematerializer, being able to instantly clear out this wave so that WildTurtle is going to lose everything. He's normally would be coming back to the cannon just arriving like now and not really be losing a lot. He's going to lose every single minion here and have the wave pushing away from him. So that is such a big deal. And that early game rune really making a big difference. This nice matched flash there from Jiizuke.
Yeah, great flash for Flash. Going to stay alive down there. I now want to see, okay, you saw Bang and Zeyzal got to take a very greedy wave clear down there. They were able to knock down the wave under the turret, so they get a very safe, very efficient recall back. It gets them pickaxe, gets them refillable potion. He's in a great spot item-wise right now, and he's barely going to miss anything as the wave is just now crashing. Both mid laners going to take their trips back. TPs were spent, and, you know, Stinger and the tier is on, as Jiizuke now going to stack Cole in as well. Some poke towards PowerOfEvil, who's actually already running out of mana.
Yeah, it seems like Solo is going to be working towards likely the Blade of Ruin King. Could be Death Dance, but I do think with the Vamp Scepter Rush, it's probably going to be just building for that side lane. He does have a very big advantage, and I think, Svenskeren is just sitting right behind him. Sitting in the bush does interrupt that recall. But I do think that Kumo really mismanaged his teleport. I think he completely wasted his teleport and has put himself very far behind his result. They're turning on PowerOfEvil. He has no flash.
Right away, 3-on-3. Zeyzal takes the Ignite, has to walk backwards there. A lot of damage onto him, or should I say Red Smite, as Ignite was also burned onto him. And able to stay alive, tanks 2 summoner spells. PowerOfEvil just has to run away. And again, out of mana with a blue buff spawning. He's going to need that desperately to fight for having a mana pool at all.
And that's why I think they're
Jiizuke and Svenskeren on the way over.
Exactly. I think they want to try to contest this. And they also need to try to get some relief up on that top side prior to this potential Herald spawn, if they actually want to go for that. Kumo does need some help. He is down 20 CS, has some to actually pick up there. We'll see if he can stabilize, as so far, Solo has been looking really good in that 1v1, bullying Kumo pretty heavily, but both top laners do not have TP. No TP available actually on either side for now, and with Solo checking that Blast Plant, making sure it is safe to move in, they are going to be starting up this Rift Herald. It is spotted, at least by EG, but I'm not sure EG really has any chance to fight for it.
Well, another fight down to the bottom side. Turtle has to, again, just be respectful of this one. Svenskeren's going to spot that Herald's being attacked, and Ezreal will move first, but Jiizuke a bit low on mana. That's a lot of crowd control. Svenskeren cannot get away, and this is top difference at work. Still up back to the blue buff, and he gets Rift Herald, and he gets First Blood. He should have been playing the entire series, but at least he's here now. FlyQuest up 700 gold in the Herald.
I mean, Solo's playing great, but that is actually, like, that is reportable. I have no idea what Svenskeren is doing. That was a no-brain play from Svenskeren, and Jiizuke is going to die too. He had full vision.
Yeah.
He knew they were both there. Kumo has no teleport, is back in base, walking out there. Like, what are you doing? you know, what are you actually thinking you're going to accomplish there? It just seems crazy that he even walked over, and then not only that, but he flashes into the wall, wastes his summoner also, and now Jiizuke hangs around knowing that they're coming up from river, has no mana and dies too. Like, what is that? That's not solo unless he's mind controlling the opponents.
He is!
Wow.
All right.
Solo has psychic powers.
He's got so much pressure top lane. Svenskeren's like, I can't let him get Herald and knock down top turret. Kumo will never forgive me for that level 1 gank where he had to burn flash. So we gotta show up, alleviate some pressure, and now onto the bottom side, the flash knockup. They're gonna catch Bang on this one. The root, the dunk, good luck getting away. He doesn't have his own flash to get away from this one. The feathers fly, and there's the kill. Santorin picks up 1, but the re-engage is in. Goodbye, WildTurtle. Santorin's gonna try to run, but they're gonna catch this one out with Nautilus. They're gonna find an easy second stun. Zeyzal gonna claim that kill, and EG get a 2-for-1 of the bot lane dive.
Bang and Zeyzal bought so much time there. That looked like it might have been the heal gun ultimate for that massive amount of healing. I'm not positive that he did actually use that there, but that can be good in those defensive situations where you're healing up a ton. He had multiple Q activations, so I want to see if this was actually the Infernal or the red gun for the ultimate to heal back up. He was fully shielded by the overheal right there. Yeah, that was a red gun
196
ultimate to actually heal back up and buy so much time. And that was critical because that allowed Zeyzal to be getting damage in. Across this, the Conqueror was proc healing even more. Santorin tries to flash away, but Nautilus ultimate always going to follow you there. And Svenskeren getting down here to help them clean up those kills. So well played by Bang, especially recognizing the situation he was in where he didn't actually need the extra damage from Infernum. He just needed, I think, to try to survive longer there and buy time for Svenskeren to get those kills back.
Yep, definitely smart. Had the option of one of the 2 ultis, chose the red one, and that was the right choice. We got now a 400 gold difference in this game. Evil Genius is off that kill. Got it a bit closer, but FlyQuest are going to feel comfortable. They've got plenty of time, about a minute and a half to summon the Rift Herald and crash in another 300 to 400 gold off of those turret plates, or maybe a bit more. We know that there's some top lane pressure. One of the plates has already been taken down. Still doesn't feel like giving Solo the gold. We can see now it is definitely Blade of the Ruin King, sitting on this 15 CS lead, and obviously that kill meaningful as well.
The lead was mostly just created early though, right? He was up 20 CS when it was 60 to 40. It's not getting bigger. It's actually been kind of shrinking a little bit. Solo did get a kill by Rift, and they have been able to use that pressure, and he will take another turret here. We'll see if they can actually get first turret. Does look like they will. This is a 3-man play.
Ulti here, the wave is cleared. Solo has to walk away, and Santorin, no, he's able to drop the aggro, and the Herald tanks it instead. They can simply auto the turret instead of going for Kumo, but he's going to be an easy pickup there as well. Greatly executed dive. That turret is a formality, as well as that 3-on-1 kill topside. Solo gonna earn some more gold.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold in the pockets of Solo. A little bit of a repeat of kind of the previous game where, you know, we do see that Sett getting ahead. We do see gold being put in his pockets, but not necessarily going to have the same outcome overall, as Solo's actually just continuing the push. EG trying to get things done elsewhere though. Their bot lane has been doing great this game. The 2v2 going fantastic for EG. They almost have the turret down completely on that bot side, and Jiizuke was able to take a turret play in that mid lane for himself off the roam from PowerOfEvil, who's having a really good start also. He has a bunch of farm, he's 2-0. This Azir is going to be pretty threatening.
Yeah, I think, and he's gonna have to do a good job here, because keep in mind, FlyQuest down 0-2 in the series. They have consistently failed to win in the team fights that have mattered. You think back even to game 1, yeah, there was the Baron throw, but the game was still reasonably close, and it was Svenskeren's great Gragasol to the chase down that killed PoE, and he was just unable to really team fight here. If PoE can get back to his, you know, first 10 game form where he's unkillable and he's sort of 1v3 just killing entire front lines or entire backlines by himself, that was the kind of PoE where people were saying, hey, this is an MVP candidate, like the one non-Cloud9 MVP candidate. This is the guy. He's carrying FlyQuest to a top spot. End of the day, they end up 4th regular season, losing their tiebreak games, losing games that could have clinched second in the very beginning of the entire thing, just by, you know, winning one more game in the regular season. And some of that is PoE not being that top flight mid laner that he was in the very, very opening weeks. Him being 2-0, he is poised to do it, but I need to see that performance again.
Yeah, he's got to be able to follow through on that, because I would say one of the mid laners that did eclipse him down the stretch was his opponent, right? Jiizuke, I think, arguably, was an MVP candidate here too. This is a guy who has been playing so well, has been such a solo carry threat for the team. Has had some mistakes today, but overall I still think playing very well, and bringing out this unique Ezreal pick has been interesting so far.
And there we go, a turret trade on the bottom side. Top lane, definitely exciting. We got first turret up there, we got all 5 plates, we got a kill. Good stuff out of that one. Herald charge, meaningful as well. But Evil Geniuses, off of basically exactly 1 counter gank, are winning bot lane by 26 CS, by an extra kill, by an unanswered turret as well. And though FlyQuest is still winning in gold, you've got money in a good spot in 135 CS to assist Aphelios.
I mean, they've been dominating. Even before any of the ganks happened in the counter gank, they almost had the straight up 2v2 kill on Turtle. Turtle had, I want to say, double-digit health, maybe even single-digit health. He was incredibly low. The last tick of Ignite barely did not kill him. They forced all those summoners. They had been playing aggressively, even from level 2 going forward and creating advantages. And Bang, I think, has been a difference maker so far in this series. This is a guy who has been very consistent throughout the split. I do believe got second team All-Pro in the voting this year, and I think deservedly so. Has been looking really good, really consistent. This has been his best split since he's really come to North America, and kind of stepping up and getting some of that recognition.
Yeah, definitely has had one of his best years in the LCS so far. He's played a couple of splits, and I just, never been as impressed with him as I expected to be when he came in. This is now sort of towards the end of the year, or the end of the split, I should say. Maybe I would say his best split in the LCS, and I think he's been doing a lot of good work, so I want to see that keep going. Bang's absolutely one of my favorite players. Huge AD carry hero of mine, so like to see him do well. I got some affinity there. We're going to keep clearing down to the bottom wave with the IE and the Zerk Creeps done. Does have better items than Turtle, as you expect from his gold lead, and as Zeyzal comes down, there's a chance at this being a 3-on-3. Svenskeren's going to spot Santorin, finds the slow, find the wave clear. Not going to go for the ult for a kill just yet, though.
Not willing to fully commit to that just yet, as they may want to be holding some of these cooldowns for the potential dragon fight. The Ocean going to be spawning here in about 55 seconds. SCG did get that first dragon and could be working towards Soul with another quick one here. But it's a 3-man play mid, and the Rift Herald gets dropped. This is likely going to be the second outer of the game here for FlyQuest off of both those Rift Heralds, so their objective control really has been paying dividends. 2 rifts, both the solo laners lose their turrets off of that, and it gives FlyQuest more control here now around this mid lane before that dragon does spawn.
Yeah, it's really good timing. I mean, PoE is going to have his passive available. He can summon the mid turret for even more wave control. We know mid-outer is the most important of the outer turrets for things like this. There's the Azir turret up. That's going to guarantee the next wave is under their control, which means if there is a Drake standoff, FlyQuest have the easy road to simply walk mid and take mid tier 2 in a 5v1 or something because of the guaranteed wave control.
Yeah.
Right now, though, they are still staying around the river. And EG going to be in a tough spot for this.
But look how far Jiizuke is from the Dragon Pit, right? He has to play back here because they lost control of their Dragon area. They lost control of the jungle path leading to the Dragon. So he doesn't actually know if IgNar's waiting to wrap around on him if he steps up. So just taking that mid lane turret meant they had to cede all that ground around it, and that guarantees FlyQuest do get this dragon, so EG will just try to get as much as they can by actually pushing in the wave up on that top side, trying to deny those minions and getting Kumo a bit more farm.
And it's just some smart fundamental play by FlyQuest, right? It's get the objectives that give you map control first, then clean up afterwards. It was some of the Herald shove in mid again, guarantee there's no answer possible. Okay, cool, let's do the rest of it. I mean, they had the wards and everything else, but it was a nice, really by-the-book mid-pressure. Nicely done. Of course, no more Heralds to be summoned this game. They've both been used. We're going to see Baron spawn in just about a minute and a half, and FlyQuest feeling a lot more comfortable. Solo pushing down to the bottom side, going to dodge the knock-up. You can see that turret getting lower over time as he is doing the exact same builds Viper is using, right? It's still Ruin King and Black Cleaver. It is the same squishy team fighter, but a solo can actually make side lane pressure more meaningful in this game than it has been in the previous two. Might just see that different outcome.
Yeah, it remains to be seen if we are going to get a bit of a different outcome. Kumo does have good wave clear, so this can get tough for Solo, but Solo just ignores him and actually just beats down that turret using the passive for the quicker punches, and then you can reset with the Q. You can get so many quick autos in on the turret, even without Triforce here, which is even faster at knocking down those towers. You can see how Solo can take them down pretty quickly. But those Rifttails were really largely off of the top lane advantage, and this is something that Kobe was talking about on the desk, how, you know, they wanted FlyQuest to have this strong lane that they could play through, and that really was Solo this game, where he's pushing in Kumo and pressuring Kumo, and that's allowing them to get the Rift Heralds, which then allow them to take top lane turret, which then allow them to take mid lane turret, and extend the advantage enough for Solo that he eventually gets the bot lane turret. So FlyQuest in a pretty good spot thus far. I think this is their best showing of the 3 games, up 2,000 gold here. Closing in on 20 minutes and, you know, looking pretty good, but EG does have really good scaling themselves, right? They have this massive 3-man front line and 2 very powerful marksmen piloted by, I would say, you know, some of their most consistent players. So they are going to have the ability to take over in these team fights. It's just a matter of if they can execute.
It might be, but right now they're still facing down a 2,000 gold deficit, and FlyQuest are up 3-1 in turrets as well. I still kind of have my eyes on them at getting the series a bit closer. They've got to complete the reverse sweep to move on. Don't get me wrong, it's a tough road ahead, but, you know, FlyQuest, we're hoping to see some life out of them. So far in this game, so good. We'll see if a 28-minute Baron turns pear-shaped down the line, but as items come through, Turtle does his best to keep up. It's going to be a long road, don't get me wrong. He's not ever going to really quite have the Aphelios damage output outside of some miracle circumstances, but Solo is aggressively pushed down to the bottom side. He's clearing well past the outer turret. Top is going to be grabbed, I think, before too long. You can see PowerOfEvil just about right there. So we've got lane control for FlyQuest. We've got a couple of deep wards, so some map control for FlyQuest. It's looking pretty good.
And I think if they do want to commit to this side lane push, one of the things that always kind of works in your favor when you're going for this DPS style build that Solo is that Kumo can't itemize just for the side lane. He actually needs to itemize for the team fight where his champion is going to be most successful. And that means building magic resist to deal with the Azir. And that's not going to help you really at all against Solo here. So, you know, the more MR he gets to help him against the Azir, the more Solo is kind of getting that itemization edge in that 1v1.
Well, second item spikes came through for most champions. Good snipe for Svenskeren. A couple of chickens, I believe, stolen by WildTurtle, but you can see it's full Nashers and Leanders to the mid laner, and the Triforce and Muramana down the other side. And now a TP play is coming in. PowerOfEvil could be attacked. Kumo's coming in behind him. Can the Azir get away? They find at least the slow. He summons his turret, flashes the knockup, but I don't feel like he ever lives. He burns the summoner, changes nothing about the outcome, and is now an easier target for 5 minutes straight. Does FlyQuest get anything in response aside from minion wave in the bot lane?
It was a very poor flash. As you say, it's not even like he's buying time because his team is not answering the TP. His team is not trying to come to save him. And, you know, now down that summoner makes it so much easier to just go for a hard engage on him when you have the Nautilus ultimate, all these things to actually try to pick him off. But they're going for a counter pick on Zeyzal, who is forced to flash out of there. But Jiizuke pushing up on the top side. He's not being answered right now. Kumo is now answering that wave on the bottom side. And Solo with the Negatron cloak there. I wonder, you know, probably just going to be Stone Plate, I guess. There is an outside possibility if you really want to commit to the split push. You could go for something like Wit's End, but I am imagining that's just going to be a Stone Plate.
Yeah, I think the only item I can think of that's Negatron Cloak and Ruby Crystal is Abyssal Mask.
Yeah,
I don't think you build that on Sett. Yeah, I think it is as well. I think it's Stone Plate most likely. FlyQuest, they did bleed the top outer turret. They dropped the gold lead to only 600. However, they have retained control on the bottom side because of Solo split pushing. Level 15, highest solo lane in the game. No one has matched him, and it means that they are able to take down the bottom side of the map, which is Mountain Drake, claimed cleanly, but Zeyzal might want in. Santorin, oh, is actually going to hit WildTurtle. The knockup's coming through. It's a lot of damage. He's going to be able to jump, hit with the feathers, and get away. Finds the root, finds a disengage.
Ooh, IgNar spotted, though. IgNar could be in some trouble here.
He's going to find a knockup, going to find an E. Zeyzal does not have flash. He could be the target. Anchors in. IgNar burns a stopwatch. The re-engage comes in. Solo finds the first kill, and he finds some backline. Puts up the shield. 2 for 0 so far. Walks away cleanly enough, and there comes the shove back. PoE catches out Kumo. This should be a 3 for nothing. Trying to slam away, but Santorin is here. Burns the flash, doesn't find the knockup, but they do find the chase down. 3 kills for FlyQuest.
Jiizuke tried to dive in there and catch out Turtle, try to punish them, but there was still CC available for FlyQuest, so they just quickly turn on Jiizuke. He tried to flash away, but gets knocked down incredibly quickly, just giving his life away, and this very likely will be the Baron here for FlyQuest. It is Svenskeren and Bang here, but Bang doesn't even have his ultimate available. Svenskeren has no smite, but they don't know the timer on his smite, so if they actually delay too long, it will come back up. He's not going to be able to get
2, 1, yeah, and zoned out by Solo, takes the 1v2, make sure Svenskeren cannot smite, and look at that, a nearly 4,000 gold lead. FlyQuest looking to flip the script in this series. 0-2 with Viper, they bring in the roster swap, and they are looking clean now, or at least cleaner in game 3.
Nicely done by EG, or like rather against EG here by FlyQuest. You know, getting the dragon for themselves, winning out on this fight. It was a good start to the fight, it felt like, from EG. As Turtle, I think, thought Santorin was actually tanking this hook, but it kind of snuck around him as Santorin did sidestep that. Turtle gets hit by that, gets hit by the follow-up ultimate. It looks like it could have been a bad fight for FlyQuest. IgNar also forced to use his ultimate in retreat, but then tracked Jiizuke. As Svenskeren's fighting off against Solo, he sees the cooldowns down, so Jiizuke says, I can go in. Turtle's fairly low. He decides to shift in, misses the Q though, and then Santorin flag and drag straight onto him. PowerOfEvil and Turtle turn right onto Jiizuke, and he goes down immediately. If Jiizuke had played that out more slowly, that is a fight with a lot of low health bars. That is a fight that EG can potentially win. So critical error there from Jiizuke. Tried to go for the big play, dive in and take out Turtle. Wasn't able to do it, gives up his life, and it ends up costing his team the Baron and potentially the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Huge misplay there for him. I mean, I looked at a lot of lifetime stats there. For example, PoE actually has played several marksmen in mid lane. Now, to be fair, his career is longer, so he's got more chances to play. But yeah, the instinct of Jiizuke there was one of a LeBlanc player, of one of an Echo player, not one of someone who's put in, 7 games on Xayah during funnel meta, where he's like, no, I just stay alive in backline and I just kill the Jarvan. Definitely a mistake there. That's going to be a bad instinct, but Turret's going to fall on the bot side, and here comes the next attempt as Kumo looks for the stun on Solo, cannot find it. Santorin not going to go for the dunk, but bot lane 2-2 still falls. 4-3 in turrets. The gold lead still sits about 4,000.
EG still kind of hanging on, but FlyQuest, as you say, does have that gold lead. Mountain Dragon's actually pretty big this game because both teams are starting to go very heavy in the resistances. Last game, it didn't feel like FlyQuest got to the point where they could really stack a lot of armor. This game is feeling like a bit of a different story. It is Tabbies this time instead of Mercs on both the jungler and the top laner. Stoneplate is done on both those guys. It looks like Santorin likely building towards a Randuin's. Solo could be going more heavily for the armor now too, so they are getting very tanky, and the Mountain Dragon is going to be amplifying that significantly. Also, for EG, if they're getting it, well, you have basically 3 pure tanks who are going to be getting both their armor and MR heavily multiplied. If you're able to pick up, say, 3 Mountain Dragons and a Soul, your front line may become just pretty much invincible.
Okay, might just be the case, honestly. This is FlyQuest holding control of this game, and as you're mentioning, yeah, not wanting to give the Mountain Drakes away to EG, who, would be pretty meaningful right there. I want to see Last Whispers come through at some point. Going to be probably 4th on the docket for both marksmen here, as mid's being pushed in a little bit. PoE Shepherd's in the way of the cannon minion, dies pretty rapidly though, and that turret's not going to fall just yet. Top also defending pretty well, and as that Baron buff timed out, FlyQuest's not willing to play it too aggressively. But as you're mentioning these Drakes, the next one spawns in 30 seconds.
And that's where it's going to be. It's going to be about playing for that. But EG are kind of corralled over by their base. FlyQuest have the pushing waves. They have this Azir turret in the mid lane as this kind of bastion of protection, and it looks like EG with their resets and their kind of movement towards the top side, I don't know that they're even going to be trying to challenge for this dragon, to be honest with you, because the recalls are feeling pretty late, and it doesn't feel like they're really that prepped for it. But I could be wrong, as they may want to try to challenge for it anyway.
Attempted play for the Wolves. Svenskeren just gets away in time, nearly knocked out for the Jarvan, but doesn't have to burn his flash to escape this one. Mid-tier 2, that PoE summoned drops. And yeah, it looks like there's really no contest for this Drake. You can still see Jiizuke topside. Doesn't have teleport. The cooldown a bit harder to track, of course, with the changes in the couple patches ago. But regardless, is just going to shove in topside. Going to go for some gold income. Maybe the team collapses for top tier 2, but right now they got to play over mid lane. FlyQuest going to easily claim Drake number 3, and they're looking at a 33.5-minute Dragon Soul, which could very well be an option. And with Mountain Drake, I mean, good luck killing the front line with 200 armor and, 15% more health, roughly. FlyQuest going to be able to stop top from dying, though.
I think it does become incredibly hard. And oh, IgNar going in. He did not realize how many people were there.
Well, he's going to burn the Zhonya's Hourglass, going to get knocked into the air, finds the charm, can't get away though. Ulti's going to land on a 2. Solo, he's running out of a lot of health, has to flash, puts up the shield, 600 damage. Santorin to the backline, but Ezreal hits everybody, and that means the disengage, the 1-for-0 EG, 5v4 on the map.
Huge amount of damage came across there from Solo with that Haymaker. Is able to dissuade EG from following further, but big mistake by IgNar, not realizing how many members were there from EG. He just jumps over the wall, has to actually blow that Zhonya's, which he has completed now, and does end up going down right after it. Thankfully for them, Baron wasn't up. They didn't lose more than the 1 member, so it won't be that big of a deal. It's not going to be a pick into an objective. It will just be that pick, and this 1 blue buff isn't the end of the world.
Well, Jiizuke gonna have to cut away from Santorin. He's gonna feel fairly safe if the ult, well, doesn't even have the ulti, but Dudley in the backline is Sett, slams him across, and that is a kill picked up in the 3v1. FlyQuest off the top lane teleport, find themselves a kill.
What a play from Solo. It looked like kind of this pointless chase until you see Solo actually TPing in behind him, off the top rope, dunks him into the team, knocks him down, and that's probably Baron now for FlyQuest. You lost your mid laner there, and it is going to be all up to Bang to get this damage done. We'll see if they can make any miracle happen in the 4v5, but they're going to get flanked.
Gonna go for the big play, gonna try to find the knock-up and the engage. Santorin down a half HP, Svenskeren very tanky, Bang walking away. Kumo's gonna be all right. They are, of course, missing their Ezreal, though. The difficulty. Ooh, nice damage, but I don't think he's the follow-through. Yeah, that's with the sniper rifle. Just gonna find that one. IgNar flashes to find the knock-up, and Turtle's there for the knockdown afterwards. 2 kills unanswered now for FlyQuest.
That's a big deal. Really big pick, because that allows FlyQuest to just go back to the Baron again. Bang had done such a good job to actually fight them off of it, but they didn't track the cooldown. Jiizuke now TP'd back, so it is just this continued play, 4v5, marksman swapped out, tag team action here from Bang and Jiizuke, taking turns fighting with the team. We'll see if Jiizuke can push FlyQuest off the Baron, as they are on it once again, and Solo is in a position looking for a flank, but Kumo is tracking him.
And they have to mark Svenskeren because his smite is available. PoE gonna pop the ulti. He can't get across with the smite. Easy claim there. FlyQuest grab it. Even if it does mean Solo dies, you take 1 for a Baron. That seems fine to me. FlyQuest can take a clean reset, take the waves down, and look to try to crush the base.
Another big objective taken here by FlyQuest. Well played there by Solo. Yes, he was shut down. That is something that you have to keep track of. Quite a bit of gold given over there. But at the same time, you're going to take the Baron for that shutdown every single time as FlyQuest. And, you know, EG just not able to keep them off of it. You know, had Bang, I think, stopped chasing, you know, in that initial play after they pushed him off the Baron, I think then you have the 5v5 and you're able to actually contest that Baron and stop it. But Bang, I think his eyes got big when that initial play went so well for him. He played the early stages of it so well. Felt like, hey, maybe I can continue chase and make the miracle play happen, knock down some of these kills and get us the Baron, but overextended, gets punished, and FlyQuest get it.
So now it's up to FlyQuest to turn the corner in these mid-games. They haven't had a gold lead at 30 minutes, I think, this entire series, and this time around they finally do, and we're expecting big things out of them. They've actually had good late games throughout the season, just haven't converted so far today. Of course, harder opponents there facing EG in playoffs, but still want to see them do well. EG had actually 2-0'd them during the regular season, so it's a 4-0 run, and maybe FlyQuest can turn that one around here. Kumo wants to walk forward, can't find that kill though, and though they can take some territory, keep in mind, this is going to be the attempt for Mountain Soul, right? Now thankfully for Evil Geniuses, they have the Baron buff during this fight. They have the extra stats to make up for, or sorry, FlyQuest rather, have the Baron buffs on top of the extra stats, and now maybe a fight towards this mid-river as there's going to be the ultis pop. Here comes the fight. A duck to the back line finds some damage, pulled together with Facebreaker, but Solo drops the start. Knockups come through though, the dive into the back line. It's a 1-for-1 so far afterwards. Bang low on health. The follow-through is in. A triple kill for the Azir. PowerOfEvil is here to stay and knock down Evil Geniuses. Jiizuke, the last to run away. He can find some poke, but he should not be able to stop FlyQuest from grabbing the soul.
Not going to be able to stop them whatsoever. Santorin still alive here. Doesn't have smite, but shouldn't matter. FlyQuest will be able to secure this soul for themselves and get full control over this game. Another really close fight. Bang not having flash was critical there. He actually used the stopwatch to avoid, I believe, the facebreaker damage, or rather the haymaker damage there from Sett. But when you do that, the rest of the team just piled in on top of him, taking him out as soon as that stopwatch did expire. Bang didn't have the flash, so couldn't get away, and Jiizuke is not going to have enough damage to actually carry through that team fight by himself.
And so cleanly picked up this Mountain Soul with a whole ton of bonus armor and MR. FlyQuest frontline is going to look unkillable.
So let's watch this one more time. You really got to track Bang because he is the key member here without the summoner. The fight starts, it's a nice buffered W there from Kumo, and then they jump back onto Bang. The facebreaker pulls them together, so he pops the immediate stopwatch to avoid the haymaker, but he comes out of that directly into a charm, directly into the dunk from Svenskeren. Turtle even throws his ultimate over top. They layer everything to make sure that they are bursting this Aphelios down, who has the potential to get so much damage out, and Bang ends up getting caught, ends up getting knocked down. Very difficult to be able to avoid this much engage when you don't have that flash. He does have the GA now though, and likely will have the flash for this next fight, which is going to be, coming up here pretty soon. So EG are going to be looking towards probably, the Elder or maybe a potential Baron. You still have chances, but they are very heavily diminished against triple Mountain Dragon plus Soul when you're all physical.
Yeah, I agree that fight looks different if Bang doesn't stopwatch, functionally nothing and then die for it. So we'll see if the fight can look better. The gold is not that far apart, but there is about 1,000 gold per player in Mountain Soul health, shielding, whatever you want to call it. So that is add 5,000 gold worth of bonus HP to the gold deficit. That's the gold deficit in this game, but you can still maybe find the opening. PoE loses the shield. There's the slow. This could be a possible kill. He can't win the duel. That is the pick they needed. EG now in a 5v4, and the 5-kill mid laner is dead for quite a while.
That's a big deal. Solo is split pushing, so EG say, all right, let's force. You gotta look for the winning play. You can't just play to sit back and bleed out this game. It's not going to work from this disadvantage. So they have to be aggressive. They utilize their strengths, which are that engage that they have actually drafted for. And IgNar potentially here could actually be caught out. We'll see if Svenskeren wants to go for the ultimate.
They get a slow that buys them a little bit of time as the rest of the squad's coming over, but keep in mind, Kumo can TP to join. Now there's no way out for IgNar. He's going to pop the ulti for some move speed. You don't believe he's going to make it, but finds a teammate to jump to, and actually a well-played rescue mission, I should say, for FlyQuest. And that would have been a pretty crucial death. He would have been dead until right about before Baron spawns. That could have meant a lot of river control. End of the day, EG just get a kill and nothing else and have to reset the map.
I think IgNar has been playing this game great. He did have that one flub that is his only death where he blast coned into Hall of EG and died. Besides that, they have not been able to pin him down for a single kill in all these scrappy fights and all these situations where he's getting spotted out. He has been very evasive, able to find ways in and out of the fights to actually really buy time. And he's also been great at holding his ultimate and his cooldowns for the proper time to almost always get back onto those EG carries and help lock them down. So IgNar really on point today. We'll see if he can help them close it out. Jiizuke now does have Last Whisper.
Jiizuke gets big damage. Turtle's got to be afraid of this one. Almost gets sniped, but here comes Ornn over the top. And that is now Turtle without escape tools. Another anchor toss comes in. They found an opening on a solo. Maybe, but he's so tanky. Over 3,000 health. He's not going to be the target. And they're not going to get anything else picked up here. But it does mean a little bit of space for evil geniuses. Again, Turtle, without escapes, has to play the fights more defensively.
He really does. No flash, no ultimate. So if EG can get any type of forced fight right now, Nautilus ultimate is that guaranteed lockdown on Turtle. He doesn't actually have the ultimate to avoid it. So that could be big. And this ultimate for Kumo, that Ornn ult, is almost halfway up. That cooldown is very, very short. So Jiizuke, can try to poke fairly aggressively. He has double lifesteal. As long as he doesn't get locked down and burst out, he's going to heal right back up to full and happy to trade his health for a little bit of poke.
Finally, last ones are picked up now for Jiizuke. Stop for Bloodthirster first. I would have really liked to see Lord Dominic's done right away, but at least is building towards this. We want to see the same amount of Bang. That will help them a lot in their late game damage output. The best single item they could buy for damage. You're seeing that out of Turtle as well. And the Void Staff, of course, already done for PoE. Went for that one third. So The back line's going to do a pretty good job even against the tanks as those items are coming through. Still fighting over mid lane control. Zeyzal 1v1ing solo, not going to be in a lot. There's the second ult wave coming across. Couple knockups. Once again, the dunk tank comes through, and Bang gets a flash to stay alive. The front lines, though, very durable. Svenskeren still alive on this one. Pee-wee's got to be a little respectful as Kumo tries to find something to do. Facebreaker back. Svenskeren has to run away. FlyQuest having the better team fight outlook. That's one, that's two kills picked up, and Bang hoping to find the re-engage on Turtle, but can't get it. Jiizuke couldn't get more than the ulti. There's a dunk in the backline. That's Guardian Angel forced out of the AD carry. Santorin finds another knockup. He might lose his life, but no, healed back up. Triumph adding up as well. FlyQuest still on the chase. Zeyzal running for his life and running very slowly. At that, it's a waddle, and he's still dead. Jiizuke now left alone against everyone, barely even scratches solo.
Oh my god.
Chase him down as well. Quick, slow picked up, but they gotta be careful. He's still cutting it out, but you have to believe it's 5 versus 1. Eventually it's going to work, and meanwhile, Turtle is pushing the mid lane, so it doesn't matter because their base is gonna be in shambles. Recalls come through, TPs when they need it, and they're ready to push for the base right now. Bud Light Ace comes through, and 20 seconds on the meaningful respawns. Into the middle inhibitor now as well, 18-7 in kills. FlyQuest can begin the reverse sweep here. They've got a minion wave, and there are no defenders. We're going to game 4. FlyQuest strike back in game 3.
Solo subbing in for the team, and FlyQuest making it work. Their best showing of the series thus far. Able to take down EG. That time, the Ezreal pick not really working out, and Svenskeren, looking like less of an impact in the game. We were being off that Gragas, being put on the Sejuani that is kind of relegated to farming, to playing more for the later stages. But there were some critical errors from EG. This was still a close back and forth game, and it felt like, critical decisions, critical misplays really did decide a lot of it. Svenskeren getting caught out, giving up his life at the first Rift Herald. Jiizuke, getting caught and misplaying when he actually dashed in over by that dragon fight. Bang, flashing forward and over chasing that gives up a Baron. There's a lot of these kind of key moments that FlyQuest was able to stay common and really heavily punish EG for. So I've got to give them a lot of credit for that. And IgNar especially, I thought played immaculately, was so good at actually being very, very disruptive in these fights.
Yep, great game for FlyQuest. Better mid-game team fighting, a lot of good play, some foibles, some mistakes from evil geniuses, but of course, at least one more game to play. It's still double match point for EG. This series is going to game 4 shortly. We're going to take a quick break, and the State Farm Analyst Desk will give their thoughts on how that game went.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk, where we're going to take a look at Game 3 of Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest, where FlyQuest just picked up their first victory of the series to extend and give us at least a fourth and possibly a fifth game in this one. But gentlemen, one of the big ticket items coming into this game was the fact that Solo was subbed in for Viper in Game 3. And as you can see here, it did net them the victory in the game overall. An extended victory, though, as compared to the first two games of the series. This one took almost 40 minutes, so probably it still wasn't necessarily easy for FlyQuest in this game.
Yeah, no, the beginning felt pretty similar to the previous FlyQuest games, where they're getting some good kills, some good ganks early on, but when they actually got into the mid-late game, they're winning team fights, which was very different than the first two games, where they got into mid-game when EG was just beating them all the time. FlyQuest was actually able to go toe-to-toe with them in these fights and actually get an advantage from that.
Without a doubt. Now, Kobe, we did have, to a degree, the salty run back, as it was so affectionately referred to. But there is one very notable difference between the two team compositions, and that will be the Sejuani on the side of Evil Geniuses. But as Solo flies up on the screen, I'm going to come back to you on that jungle champion point, and let's continue to talk about Solo and the performance that he put up in the top lane.
So Solo, not only did he have a very aggressive, kind of offensively looking lane phase, but he also had these good teleports and flanks that he got, where he could get really good ultimates with the Sett onto primary targets of EG's composition. I think that led to a lot more success for them in their team fights, in some of the skirmishes. So the substitution was actually quite meaningful.
Yeah, I think the laning phase in the early couple waves and stuff we were talking about not being super different. Both Viper and Solo had been building a small CS lead, but I think the ability to continue extending that lead was something that was something Solo did a lot better, and being able to then translate that advantage into good flanks and team fights and setting his team up was one of the big difference makers this game. Like we said, the early game wasn't that different, but they continue to drive home those advantages.
There's going to be a couple other difference makers for FlyQuest in this game, one of which I'll call out is the support in IgNar. Back on that Rakan probably that we talked about before the game, a playmaker in every sense of the word this guy is, and I feel like this Game 3 is the first time in this series we got a glimpse of what we expect and want to see out of IgNar if they are to push or challenge for a title.
Yeah, I mean, everyone sees Rakan and they go, oh yeah, you know, she's a normal engaged champion, but the way IgNar plays it, he's always in really unique positions on the map, where he's at kind of a flank or at the side, and if you play against that, you can't walk where you normally want to walk in the game. So you're kind of being restricted just by this player's movement in the game. And I know one time while IgNar's trying to find a flank, he W's over the wall into the entire enemy team EG. But that's the kind of thing, yeah, IgNar is just in weird spots around the map, so it's hard to predict where he's going to be, and then he's actually able to get these engages off, and it's, you know, this series is going to be based on team fights. So the fact that he's able to make these flanks and get the fight started is really, really important to winning.
So a number of people on FlyQuest here stepping up in Game 3 to help aid in the victory. But Kobe, I'll now return to that point that I kind of brought up a little bit earlier, which is one of the major differences from a champion select point of view in Game 3. And that was that the Gragas was removed from the pool and Svenskeren was relegated to Sejuani.
And that's one of the big things that led to easier laning from FlyQuest. Gragas puts so much more pressure when you have Predator Flash Gragas roaming around in the enemy jungle. You're unable to take a lot of aggressive trades that you would rather take in some of these lane matchups. With the Sejuani, not only was it a Sejuani, which is less intimidating, but Svenskeren also made some mistakes. They talked about the one by the Rift Trail where he kind of flashed into the wall and got caught a little bit in the river. So I think those openings also led to some better earlier performances from the FlyQuest team.
Without a doubt. Probably thoughts on the jungle matchup. I mean, is Svenskeren so important to the success of Evil Geniuses that if you remove, those playmaking champions like the Gragas and maybe possibly a Lee Sin, that he becomes, irrelevant in this matchup?
I mean, I wouldn't say irrelevant, but I'd say, yeah, his impact is diminished. I think in the first two matches, we didn't talk enough about Svenskeren and how good he was doing on the Gragas. I think like Mark mentioned that it was like something like 10k damage in their second game with Gragas. Like, that's an insane amount of damage coming from like a non-carry. So I think just having that removed, which FlyQuest was doing on the blue side in their first three bans, think it's gonna be really powerful. Unless the only thing is they're on red side now.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
I was about to say, Mark, out. Let's talk game 4 now. Let's transition to game 4 with side selection. Evil Geniuses is going to go to blue side. We have no substitutions coming in, so Solo remains in the lineup. But Mark, on blue side, can FlyQuest remove the same options?
No, I don't really think so, because one thing EG was doing was kind of lowering their priority on Svenskeren. This is why best of fives are so fun to watch, is because you get to see, okay, will EG raise the priority? Or the other thing is they were picking double physical damage marksman. Yes, Ezreal has a little bit, but that's one of the reasons they went for, I think, the Sejuani over the J4, because they kind of already had their mind made up about what they thought that draft was going to be, because it was a bit of a salty run back, as we said. So I think moving forward, having more diversity of damage profiles in their laning phase could help limit Svenskeren a little bit less, as well as picking it earlier. So I think they have a lot of options available.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, the decision tree, you know, right from the get-go here in Champion Select. If FlyQuest opts not to ban the Gragas, does EG shift the priority of that champion, you know, way up in order to secure it in the first phase? Or, like you said, do they make adjustments elsewhere on the map to maybe open up the pool a bit for Svenskeren? Either way, for FlyQuest, any more adjustments on top of what we saw from Game 3 to give us Game 5? I'm hoping for 5 games to kick off the postseason, so I want to know how FlyQuest gets it done.
I think they need to be a lot more aggressive as well when they get their advantages with Barons and stuff like that. You can't take a Baron buff and settle to mill around for a Drake spawn. I know that it's Elder Drake, but like, think of how long that game was compared to EG's wins, and every minute that you stall out lets mistakes happen, like when Jiizuke PowerOfEvil got picked off.
PowerOfEvil got picked.
Right, they need to be more aggressive to close these games out faster, because you can't give EG this, 20 extra minutes to get back into the game.
Yeah, without a doubt. Alrighty, well, there you have it. 2-1 stands the series score, with EG out to a lead and series point right here. For FlyQuest, they still got 2 more wins they got to put together to move on to the next round of the playoffs. We'll see who comes out on top when we return for Game 4 of our quarterfinal match, so don't go anywhere.